The tragedy this week in Prince George has workers at sawmills on Vancouver Island questioning their own safety. Monday night, the Lakeland mill in Prince George blew up, killing 2 workers, injuring 25 others. Western Forest Products operates 8 sawmills on Vancouver Island, and there are dozens of other smaller processing mills up and down the island. Sawmills are dangerous places, and hundreds of workers here are wondering if they're risking their lives for their livelihoods. CTV's Chandler Grieve reports.
And I'm just going to kick that sawdust, and then you can just see the dust. That's how it is.
Mike Gogo knows just how easily a spark in a sawmill can turn into a fire and then a deadly explosion.
Well, it's all a matter of how dry the sawdust is, and there's no sawdust drier than cedar sawdust, and I'm aware of that all the time. But they've got that dry pine up there, and I imagine that just heightens the problem.
Up there is Prince George, the site of a deadly sawmill explosion that shook the city's core, killing 2 workers and injuring 25 more.
Well, anytime a tragedy like that happens, you've got to think about it and look at it.
It's the second deadly explosion in a BC sawmill this year. Sawmill workers know their job is a dangerous one, but 4 deaths in 4 months within the industry takes the fear to a whole new level.
Well, we were just talking about that today. The crew was talking about it, and there's a problem, I think. The big problem is dust, of course, and in a mill that's not ventilated well, and most of them aren't because it's so cold in the wintertime and nobody wants dust blowing in their eyes and nose in the summertime. But it's a terrible thing that happens.
Shocked. Nobody ever expects that their workplace is going to explode in that kind of fashion.
Brian Butler represents workers at the 8 Western Forest Products sawmills on Vancouver Island. He says many of those workers are now demanding safety concerns be addressed.
We're hearing from people that they would like some things looked at in their workplaces to ensure once the results come out that this couldn't happen in their workplace as well. We obviously hope that no tragedy like this could ever happen here. But it's something that we will be talking to Western Forest Products about to see what can be put in place to ensure that nothing can happen.
Coastal cedar, which is processed at sawmills on Vancouver Island, is a much different form of wood than what's found in the interior and northern parts of BC. It's a much damper form of wood, but that doesn't mean an explosion or a tragic fire can't happen at a sawmill on Vancouver Island. It's a line of work where the simplest mistake can have deadly consequences.
It can just happen. Anything can happen. It could be somebody left a can of gasoline there or something ignited it, and that was all it takes. It only takes one careless person to cause the death of and the unemployment of hundreds.
Whether it could be a simple mistake where someone was smoking in an area that they shouldn't have smoking, or a spark from a welder.
It will be weeks, maybe months, before we know exactly what caused the explosion in Prince George. But the province is taking no chances. The government has ordered WorkSafe BC to conduct a full safety review of all sawmills in the province, including all the mills on Vancouver Island. Chandler Grieve, CTV News, Nanaimo.